Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Today I'm going to talk about the most underrated watches made by the 5 biggest brands in the watch industry. Now, of course, before we get started, customary wristwatch check. Today I'm wearing my Rolex Submariner Hulk. Love this bad boy, owned it for a few years, not going anywhere. Not a big Rolex fan, but this is by far my favorite. And also, guys, don't forget to check out DelReyWatch.com, the best place to buy pre-owned watches. We just got in a very rare Audemars Piguet Tradition with the ultra-thin hand-engraved movement. We have an Bulgari Octo limited edition for the all blacks with a Maori dial, very, very cool. And an Oris depth gauge, one of the best value divers with a very cool complication, all at DelReyWatch.com, link in the description below. Now, yes, I want to talk about the most underappreciated lines in the top 5 watchmakers' catalogs. Now, some things like the Rolex Cellini, which I think are truly awful because they're ugly workhorse movements in a dress watch. Of course, they put a closed case back because even its own mother couldn't love that movement, at least in terms of aesthetic, which is actually not something I think is appropriate for a dress watch. I think dress watches should be finer. Those movements are great in a sub, but how dare you put that in a Cellini? That is a line that deserves to be called shit. However, Rolex also made the Milgauss, one of my favorite watches, and I know a lot of people might disagree with me, but the Milgauss is one of my favorite watches ever made. A watch with history, a watch with interesting dial choices, and a watch that would show that a brand as big and scary as Rolex didn't take itself entirely seriously with that lightning bolt second hand. 100 meters water resistance, stainless steel, a Rolex for the true watch lover, at least in my mind. Next is Omega. And am I going to say the DeVille? No, I'm going to say the Globemaster. Technically part of the Constellation line, which also doesn't sell very well. The Globemaster is a larger sized watch, larger than the Constellation at least, that's supposed to compete with the Rolex Datejust. Fantastic movement, open case back, interesting complications like a very handsome annual calendar. However, it seems that these watches sell nowhere but in Asia. Now, of course, Asia loves the Constellation, but this with its new bold size, I thought would do well here in the West. But according to my sources, it absolutely does not, and it's very hard to find them in the US because they're moving all their pieces to Asia so they can actually sell them. Next is Cartier, and a watch that's been around for a while that no one's heard about. The Ronde Louis Cartier, a Calatrava-esque round dress watch made by Cartier that houses a very interesting Piaget manual wind movement. Cartier and Piaget are both brands I worked for, and this is the perfect marriage watch of my career. So, might be a little biased on this one. You know, small 36 millimeters, cream dial, manual wind watch, rose gold, very nice alligator band in brown, non-padded. I think this is a very elegant watch, and honestly, price-wise, beats the living hell out of a Patek. Now, Patek may have the prestige, but I don't know if their movement is all that much better than this one. I certainly don't think so. Now, moving on to Patek, we have their most underrated line. Now, if I was John Reardon, I would say it is the Golden Ellipse. Now, John, I love the Golden Ellipse, but unfortunately, it is tragically outdated, and I don't think it's poised for a comeback because it just does not fit today's style. He would massively disagree with me, and that's fine. I actually think when it comes to Patek, he knows a million times more than I do, so he may actually be right. But I'm going to go with the Gondola. Their rectangular-shaped watch that has everything from time-only to a power reserve to a 7-day tourbillon. This watch houses the entire gamut of Patek watchmaking. Now, with its Art Deco stepped case, its interesting dial choices, its larger, more modern size, I don't understand why people don't wear this. All they really want is a Nautilus. You know, in my mind, this kicks a Nautilus's butt up and down the street all day. The Patek Gondola. Now, last but not least, by Longines, it is not my favorite watch, but it is a watch that has a ton of value, the Longines Conquest. Not the Longines Hydro Conquest, which is a Submariner slapped with an ugly stick, and previously one of the worst watches ever made, at least for the price point. It's actually much better now with its ceramic bezel. But the Conquest, the bezel-less version. Fairly inexpensive, ETA movement, finished decently well except for the god-awful clasp, handsome dial, you can get a Longines here for essentially Tissot money. And it's hard to ignore when you can do that, but it seems like the customers are ignoring it because no one gives it any love. But if you want a sporty watch for a very fair price, check out the Longines Conquest. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It really does help. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more content. Guys, thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.